Hey, it's Steve Riley. Welcome to Great Practice, Great Life. We have an incredibly special episode for you today. I'm so excited to share it with you because we have what I've nicknamed the better Goldenfarb. I have Colleen Goldenfarb, the life partner of Craig Goldenfarb, on today's episode. And she's here. Craig and I have been friends for a long time. Craig's been a client and supporter of Atticus for a long time. And I didn't think Colleen was actually a real person till I met her a couple of years ago because he would always reference Colleen, who I'd never met. And I got to meet Colleen, and I really got an incredible perspective of what a powerful woman she was. And Colleen spoke for the second time publicly at our summit in front of 400 attorneys, which in itself is a crazy, crazy thing to do as your second public speaking. She has a tremendous level of courage, tremendous level of authenticity, but she's really here today to talk to us about a very unique perspective and from her heart. So, Colleen, I just want to welcome you to the show, welcome you, and thank you for everything that you've done at the summit and everything that you do with Craig and everything you do for our community. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Your presentation at the summit was very unique, which was really titled "How Come Work Gets the Best of You and we get what's left of you." And your opening line was fantastic. So if you could just talk to me about that opening line that you opened up the summit with, or open up your game changer presentation with, and let's just flow from there.
Okay. That's a perfect way to start from the beginning. The reality is I came up with this line, or people might think I came up with this line for my lecture. And the truth is it's authentically something Craig and I have genuinely talked about, which is you're so stressed out. You have so much work going on and all you want to do is cryogenically freeze. You don't want your family to go away. You love them, but you want to freeze them and stick them in a closet for like a week so that you can get caught up at work. And I know everybody has felt that way. And it dawned on me like, why are we freezing our family instead of freezing work so that we can be with our family? Like that seems the more natural method that we should be living our lives with. And so that's why I posed that question. And interestingly enough, I would say more than half the people raised their hand and said they felt the same way. So it's something that resonates with everyone who is hardworking, I think.
What were the costs of the work addiction for you guys?
So it's hard to talk about because it brings me back to a dark time. But the first thing I say this to everyone, the first thing that goes when you get disconnected from your partner is intimacy. And it's not that, you know, you just kind of it's not that you lose interest in it. It's that you're mentally exhausted. And when you're mentally exhausted and you feel detached and you feel alone and you feel that you're carrying a burden by yourself, the last thing you want to do is be intimate. There's an
Yeah.
old saying, when you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. And when you're alone and sad and overwhelmed and desperate, you're not hot. And that's the
You
first,
don't feel safe? The guy
you
doesn't
don't
like
feel
door
safe.
for God's sake. I mean,
Yeah.
why does he have the door?
Right. You may be interested in that moment in being intimate with your partner, but you don't even feel safe to broach the subject because you haven't barely spoken to your partner for a week. So yeah, you stop. It's almost like your mind goes back to when you're dating and you lose that comfort and connection. Part of choosing, look, I'm not going to say that everyone needs to be married to one person for life. I'm not sure that that's even how humans are meant to be. It's a social construct that we created, whatever. But if you are going to make that commitment to someone, the reason you should do it is because that's the person you feel the safest with on this planet, to share your deepest, darkest secrets and to share your personal mental intimacies and physical intimacies.
You work through what other people might have been stuck in conflict. Like they would hang out in the conflict. Somebody's trying to be right, the other person trying to be wrong. You're trying to fix the other person. And the one thing that you said that I kind of scribbled on a note real quick is that you can spend a lot of time trying to fix your partner.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Or you can spend a lot of time collaborating with your partner, creating a better future together that you can build together. And
Yeah.
if your partner is open to it and hears it and really connects that, it's
Yeah.
a very powerful way of approaching the relationship. And I instead of trying to say, okay, let me see if I can fix you, let me see what I can do to recreate and create a more powerful relationship for us. And that's how come I think the provider distinction, the plow horse distinction, the thought there immediately shuts down the ability of the person who's defined themselves as a provider or a plow horse in my case.
Right.
And they don't
Oh,
have the capability then of collaborating. They're just like, I put myself in my own box, so to speak. So
sure.
you're in your box, I'm in my box. Don't try and fix my box. I won't try and fix your box. And that's really not what you're proposing. It's the exact opposite. Uh,
Well, to that point, I have to own up what I was doing too. So I mean, I don't know if you want to go in this direction, but it is a two-way street. And I had to own up to what I was creating in domestically that was making Craig feel uncomfortable in our home or feel not safe to be himself. And that's when I talk about setting boundaries, which we can certainly talk about. But um, we finally figured out that it was not working for Craig, that every time he would get home from work, I would jump on him, not literally, but would pounce on him with, you know, let me tell you about my day. Or let me tell you what those kids did to me today. And let me tell you how stressed out I am right now. I need your help with this. I can't do this alone. But, and just kind of like, and he's going, I just got back from the office. Like, can I have a few minutes? And so we created some boundaries for him because he was coming home later and later from work. And I didn't realize it was because I was pushing him away and I was creating an environment where that wasn't relaxing, wasn't comfortable for him. And he didn't want to come home to that. So, this is a two-way street. This is, let me be very clear. I'm never going to ever tell a room full of 400 dynamic lawyers and business owners that they need to stop doing X, Y, and Z because they're ruining their relationship. That is never what I'm going to say. I'm going to say together, you and your partner need to decide what does work for you and what doesn't. And you need to own your own garbage and address that as well.
So where was the pivot point for you and Craig? Like what happened? What did you do to say, okay, we're going to turn this? We're going up the wrong ladder. Let's readjust. What was the pivot point, and what are some of the strategies you'd recommend to the audience that they can apply in their life?
So, well, first of all, everything you just said is accurate. And yeah, when you need a sense of control, when you're feeling lost, if you feel it at work, that's where you're going to go. And that's a natural thing to do. The turning point for us was, when you said you step outside sometimes and have to talk to someone and say, when have you told your partner that you're getting to, you don't want to be married anymore? And they're like, what? Um, we reached that point. We reached that point where we were like, do we want to stay together? And we had a good friend of ours who she is a life coach and she didn't work with us directly, but that's was her thing. And she gave us some incredible advice that helped us figure out if we wanted to stay together or not stay together. And she said, look, Colleen, if you are leaving your marriage because you're unhappy about X, Y, and Z, your troubles and the things that are making you unhappy are going to follow you into your next relationship. So here's my challenge to you. Fix those things first. Get happy in the areas that you're unhappy in. And then if you still want to leave, leave. And the example she gave was that I'll give you was we live in an area we live in Palm Beach County, northern Palm Beach County. It's beautiful here. It's a beautiful suburb. We have a vibrant city, West Palm Beach, but we live in the suburbs, manicured lawns, et cetera. And it's all lovely. And we have everything we need and great restaurants, et cetera. But it's kind of boring for me. Craig likes it. I don't find my people here. I'm a bit of a weirdo, and that's it. topic for another day. But I like interesting creatives, and I wasn't finding those people here. And I kept complaining to Craig, we got to move. We got to move. I hate it here. I don't want to live here. I want to live where there's more creative minds, et cetera. And that was my biggest complaint, one of my biggest complaints. And this friend of ours said, Colleen, if you want to move, you can move. But before you move, find 5 things about where you live that you love. And she kind of like forced me and coached me through it and made me go seek what I did love about where I lived. And I did that little exercise and I was like, okay, not that bad here.